The good news was someone asked me to help them with a side job. And they down there, instead of grass, they do granite, right? So you got like crushed granite or
Yeah.
3/4 inch. They said, can you spread this, move it from the street to the backyard, spread it and everything else? And it was 35 tons worth. I
Hmm.
said, well, yeah, I can do that. I work hard every day. So I did spend like my last 85 bucks at the time for a wheelbarrow and a shovel. I went, shoveled, moved all of it to about 10 hours, sweating. But here's the beauty, Audley. They came out and they handed me $1,000 in cash for doing that job. And I looked at that $1,000 and I thought, I'm doing the same thing for 50 bucks a day. I see my future. My future is in my hand. I am going to be an entrepreneur. Then all I called it was, I'm going to work for myself. That
Right.
was the special name I had for it, working for myself.
Ongoing goals to help our listeners live their best audacious lives ever. Thank you for joining us here and dedicating some of your time to be a part of our journey. Now, just like a diamond is formed under intense pressure, overcoming adversity can shape us into successful individuals in the business world. In a recent interview with Richard Walsh, we explored how he navigated challenges to achieve his goals. Richard is a seasoned entrepreneur with over a decade of experience in the business industry. He's known for his innovative strategies and resilient mindset in the face of adversity. Richard's journey from overcoming challenges to achieving success makes him very, very relevant and an inspiring guest for this episode. His insights and experiences offer valuable lessons for our listeners on how to thrive in the face of difficulties. So now that we're all set, let's check out our conversation with Richard. Hey, Richard, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living podcast. I appreciate you taking the time like this, man.
I'm excited to be here, Audley. Really am. So yeah, let's do it.
No, I'm excited as well. Look, I get a complete charge at being able to sit down with great individuals like yourselves and talk about all sorts of wonderful things that are out in the world that others can use them and make their lives even better. And so I'm equally as thrilled to discuss with you. Like here on this podcast, we talk about things like adversity. We spend a lot of time talking about adversity and the challenge that comes in people's lives, and it's always beautiful to hear how they overcome that and what they went through and what they did, and there's so much value in that because we can take those situations and share those for others. We can help those on their own individual journey, and so a big part of our work is that. I know you certainly got your own story of adversity and challenge that you've had to go through to get to the point that you are, being a former Marine guy and certainly belt kickboxer and all kinds of things that you've had up have in your wheelhouse. So maybe as a starting point, we will give you an opportunity to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and kind of what brought you to this point.
You bet. Thanks, Audley. Yeah. So I was in the Marine Corps, got out in 87 and started working, and because you got to make money.
Sure.
So I got a job, as I tell people, swinging a pickaxe, digging trench to lay cable in Tucson, Arizona. It's like 100 degrees, swinging a pick all day, 8 hours a day for $5 an hour. So you people complaining about your $15 an hour, I'm swinging a pick. I think prisoners had it better than I did. So I'm like, I didn't see a lot of future in that, Audley. So the good news was someone asked me to help them with a side job. And they down there, instead of grass, they do granite, right? So you got like crushed granite or
Yeah.
3/4 inch. They said, can you spread this, move it from the street to the backyard, spread it and everything else? And it was 35 tons worth.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, yeah, I can do that. I work hard every day. So I did spend like my last 85 bucks at the time for a wheelbarrow and a shovel. I went, shoveled, moved all of it to about 10 hours, sweating. But here's the beauty, Audley. They came out and they handed me $1,000 in cash for doing that job. And I looked at that $1,000 and I thought, I'm doing the same thing for 50 bucks a day. I see my future. My future is in my hand. I am going to be an entrepreneur. Then all I called it was, I'm going to work for myself. That was the special name I had for it, working for myself.
Right.
And it was awesome. And I started a landscape business that turned into a custom water feature business, backyard water gardens, ponds, became internationally recognized with my steel sculpture I learned to do myself, and the water features was awesome. That went really great for about 20 years. So about 08, 09, exactly, 08, 09, economic collapse hit. And it, like so many other businesses, it affected mine as well, to the point of wiping me out completely. Now, at the time, I had 6 small children, 4 years
Mm.
and younger, my wife, my business, and everything evaporated overnight. Pretty much just
Wow.
gone. Right. So I'm
Wow.
like, okay, this is,
Good.
I think we put this in adversity category. I think
Yeah,
we
I
put it
think
in there.
so.
So I had to figure out what to do. And we relocated. We lost our house. We lost everything. So we relocated. I kind of started over. One thing I knew, Ollie, was I wasn't going to do what I already did.
Hmm.
So like literally, like I realized everything I had was wrapped up in my business. Who I was my
Right.
business.
Yep.
Okay. My identity, everything. And I'm like, well, I can't do that. Like, because I woke up one morning just before I shut everything down and I started thinking about my kids, and they're all little, but they love me. And I come home late at night and they run and they attack me, like kids do and stuff. And I got 6 of them, and well, one's crawling, but they're always, they're all doing all their thing. And I'm
Sure.
like, wow. And in the morning, my one son would chase me down the driveway crying after my truck, and I'm looking
Mhm.
at that in the rearview mirror. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And I realized my little epiphany, Ollie, was I go, if I stay this course of business only, business
Yep.
first, I got to be
Yep.
successful. I'm going to destroy my children's lives.
Mm.
They're not going to have any good relationships. They're going to have broken marriages, right? They might have money and they're going to chase whatever that is, whatever success in my mind at that
At what
time was.
cost, right? At what
Right.
cost?
Right. And I'm like, I can't do that to them. So that's when I'm like, okay, shut the doors. Now we're done. Everything's closing anyway. So let's hurry up and do that,
Hmm.
get it done. And whatever I do, I'm not going to do that. So I had
Gotcha.
to figure out a way to go forward that without letting the business become who I am.
Hmm.
Right. And I literally like have video of me burning all my shirts and uniforms and brand out of the package. But I'm nothing, never doing this again. Sold every piece of equipment, which my wife is not thrilled about because I owned everything. Because you could use that to keep making I don't operate that way. I am all or nothing. Okay.
Right.
I'm a jarhead. That's how we operate. Okay. We're not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Okay. That's how we do things. So we started again, right? We relocated everything else. And it was awesome. We ended up homeschooling our kids
Hmm.
all the way through another, all of them. Some are, my one son's in the Marine Corps now, and my others are graduate high school. They're about to graduate.
Congrats.
And I learned how to scale and build new businesses and everything else because I really wasn't employable. And it all started because of that $1,000. So I was like, that
Mm.
$1,000, you're never going to get a job after you get that kind of money for a day's work back then. Okay. And
Mm.
today, so that kind of brings us up to where we're at today. I started helping businesses. I'm a business coach. That's my full-time gig.
Love it.
And I just absolutely love it. I wrote a best-selling book called Escape the Owner Prison, the contracts new way to scale, regain control, and fast track growth to help people because a lot of people were in the same position I was. So I wanted to help them as well. And one final point, you talk about adversity, right? And if anyone like looks at your life for like 30 seconds, your life is full of it at
Oh,
all different levels, right? We know that. I mean, you what and of course a lot of us in America, Canada as well, we have these first world adversities that we think are so
yes.
trying. Like
That's right.
you need to travel a little bit and you'll
Right.
see some real
Oh my gosh, I have
everyday
to
adversity.
travel extra 10 miles to find a Starbucks. It's so unfair.
Yes, yeah. Life is cruel, right? Yeah. Walk 6 miles to get water one way. Do that. And then,
Oh
then you'll
man.
see. But it's pretty amazing though. So the journey has been it's been a blessing more than anything. It's been hard. I mean, it's great to look back and talk about it and laugh and make fun of it and stuff, all that. But man, it was pretty brutal. I got to tell you.
Listen, look, we've been chatting for 10 minutes or so, and we've had a lot of fun and smiling and enjoying each other's company for sure. But how hard is it to smile during those moments back then?
It's not easy. Now I am a major optimist,
Hmm.
much to my wife's like it can drive her crazy because I just don't let things bother me. Like
Mm.
I will get through. I definitely have this belief if you're breathing, you're in the fight. Okay. So there's like always this thing you can do. Now, the problem is it never happens fast enough,
Right.
no matter how good you are and everything else. And during that time, even me, the eternal optimist, can get a little down. I mean, I work out, I like to work out,
Yep.
and I love doing the sledgehammer against the tire or
Mm.
an axe on tree trunks,
Hmm.
and logs, because that is, and I box, so I hit the bag. So there's a lot of frustration that gets taken out on
Yes.
inanimate objects. And that helps me a little bit, but you're still dealing with that every day
It's great.
and
Yeah.
in that spot, and you're looking
Yeah.
at 6 kids you got to feed and your wife, and yeah, it's a little challenging.
Gotcha. Got you. So then what helped you then? Or can you attribute it to just one thing?
Well, I don't think I can't attribute to one thing because it's too complex of a situation.
Yeah.
All adversity isn't just this thing that happened. Usually it's a culmination of things
Hmm.
that got me there. Like I didn't lose my business because of the financial collapse. That's not, I lost it because of the things I didn't do in my business to make it weather or something like that.
Right.
So I had to own that. I'm like, okay, well, easy to, oh yeah, the collapse took me and everyone else out. It was terrible. No, I took me out, which also means I can get back in.
Mm,
So if the collapse took you out, does that mean you only can operate in a good economy?
right. Right.
See, no, this is my fault. So I'm
Right.
big on personal ownership.
No, that's
Having
listen, that's Rich, that's the big one. Being, accountability is something that we all have to look ourselves in the mirror, right? We all have to say, hey, this happened because of me, or what did I do to contribute to this loss or this failure or this setback? And that's not an easy conversation for people to have.
no, and it's our self conversations are usually the hardest,
Yeah.
because we don't want to hear what we got to say, which is why we got in the mess in the first place. So it's a
Absolutely.
challenge, Audley. It's a
Yeah.
challenge. Other things, really, my family was strength for me.
Sure.
Coming home, God was huge in my life. Really, really to help me. That comfort I have in Christ was a big thing that pushed me through because I learned to put my identity in Him, and that for me was like, okay, well, because every business is going to go, every employee is going to leave.
Sure.
Okay, things are going to break up, things collapse, all that stuff. So I needed something I could hold on to literally for eternity. And that was it. And it just gave me a redirection and a purpose. And again, combine that with looking at my kids and like, what do I want them to? I want them to grow and do great things.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
the only way you're going to do great things is if you have perseverance, you have grit, and you can push through it. And you can't tell your kids to have perseverance. Doesn't work. You have to demonstrate perseverance.
Gotcha.
So if I couldn't teach them math well, I taught them perseverance through what I do. Okay, so they might not be a physics major, but they're gonna have perseverance. They'll get through it.
Gotcha. I'm a big fan of grit, and I want to talk about that for a second. First off, if you wouldn't mind, Richard, give me your definition. What would you call grit?
Wow, it really is. It's I have a quote that I've lived by for like 25 years. Can I say that? It kind of defines it.
Okay.
Okay, this is what grit is. Dedication to a goal that never wavers. Resolution. This is the basic principle in the life of every truly great character. He who resolves upon any great and good end has, by that very resolution, clothed himself in power and has scaled the chief barrier to it. That's grit.
I like that last part. Clothe himself in
And
power.
power, scaled the chief barrier to it. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a great book. Have you read Grit by Angela Duckworth?
Mm.
Have you read that book?
No, yeah, I know. I'm familiar with the book, but I haven't read
Yeah.
it. No.
Wow. A lot of research. Well, I'm
Yeah.
97% on the grit scale. I'm
Wow.
kind of up there. But yeah, to me, it really is dedication to a goal that never wavers. It's doing whatever it takes to reach your goal. Now, we can talk ethics and all that kind of stuff. It's not, ends just justify the means. What I mean is that you push through, you deal with the humps, the bumps, the scars, everything
Sure.
else is going to come with it, but you get there. It's like whether you're graduating college or my son getting through Marine Corps boot camp and now SOI, and then it's recon, and then it's MARSOC. Like to get those goals, every step, every next goal is that accomplishment that builds your perseverance, right? So
Mm.
you have to, that's why you start little, do a little goal. Oh, and by
Right.
next week, I'm going to what? Go to the gym 3 times. Yay. That's perseverance though. Then the next week, then you're at
Yep.
5 days, and if you can start that way, you got to build it because you can strengthen it. It's not like you're born with it.
Right.
You're not born with perseverance.
Right.
We're all weak and kind of cowardly in reality. So we got to train ourselves to be a little tougher,
Uh,
but you can do it. You can get to that place.
yeah. And I think once you get to, and what's really neat is when you get to that place, right? You're like, okay, yeah, I've arrived, and you recognize that it doesn't stop, right? It's an ongoing process. I'll actually on my website. There's an acronym BOLD, and it's called I call it the BOLD framework. The B represents better than yesterday. So there's a commitment to ongoing learning, right? Like our ongoing development. So, we had that achievement yesterday. That's fantastic. We celebrated yesterday. What are you doing next, right? Um, the O in that framework is outlasting adversity. Perseverance, you just talked about a moment ago. It's going to come, right? We recognize. So let's be clear on the starting point. Everyone's going to have adversity. So no one's surprised when it comes, but you're not going to get advance warning when it knocks at your door. So you have to outlast that. The L is live your truth, which is really tied into being authentic, being the person who you're meant to be, right? We're all on our predestined path that we're meant to walk down. We've got to go down that path. And then lastly is disrupt the norm, which is really about your being your trailblazer, right? You think of the Wright brothers, and they invented developed the plane. I'm certain there were a lot of people that told them that they're crazy. A lot of people told them that there's no way that you can get people to fly, and it can never be done. But they still did it anyways, and they disrupted the norm. And so much of what you've touched on really feeds into that framework that we use to encourage individuals to live their best audacious life, because without those things, you're not really making any forward progress. And so it's really important that we do so.
Yeah, that's a great acronym. That's really awesome. I like that. I'm stealing it. No, but no, it's a good one. It's really good because I think that disruptive thing at the bottom is really important. Like I've never, and the only thing I think is I was born with this, or I just had this environment that turned me into a contrarian.
Mhm.
I'm not a herd guy. Oh, look,
Right.
everyone's going that way. I'll be over here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm just am the other way. And I'm an innovator too. And that works really well. And to be an innovator, you need to be a bit of a contrarian. You've got to think
Right.
differently. Right. So, and I'm a builder. I love to build, right? I like to grow a business. So I get to combine these different things to do something new,
Right.
challenging for myself, right? But out of the norm that people, I remember, and I'm going to throw my family under the bus here, Audley. Okay. When I launched my water feature business, I was going from bringing it back to Chicago from Arizona. They all laughed at me. You'll be back in 3 months. Yeah, this ain't gonna work. Build water garden, but dude, I became nationally and internationally recognized. Okay. And guess who all wanted to work for me? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then I gave a couple a shot, but that didn't work out so well either. But it really is that, right? It's that ability to take the risk, right? Because that's for entrepreneurs, that's what it's a calculated risk. You're not a fool. Okay. But you understand that it's just like perseverance. You're going to risk something. You're going to risk maybe going too far.
Yes.
But maybe you're going to crawl by the time you get to the finish line. And that's okay because you crossed the finish line.
You got there.
If you think you're going to get there looking as good and feeling as good as when you started, okay, you got to talk to some people.
Sure. True.
But like you said, looking back, it's so good to be able to look back at all this stuff and go, man, I did that. Because the next hard thing, like you said, the old great saying, what have you done for me lately? That's what I tell myself. What have you done for you lately? Cool bio. Yeah, but that's all in the past.
Sure.
People ask me, man, one kid asked me once, he goes, when was the last time you were in the ring? And I just looked and went, before you were born. So I'm like, but it's ancient history, man. Like, exactly. Yeah, I did it, and I still have the skills, and I still train. So be careful, young man. Be careful, young man. But now it's like, what's tomorrow? My goal is to help 10,000 business owners create freedom, profit, impact in their business.
Beautiful.
Okay, that's tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day till I get there. That energizes me.
That's beautiful. And look, not to say that we can't, again, celebrate the things we've done in the past. I think it's very, very important that you've done so. But look, the reality is, the fact that I won my grade 5 high school, my grade 5 championship in basketball is not helping me now in my adult life. It's not at all. And it's really what it's telling me is I'm stuck in the past when I really need to be future focused, looking forward to what I can achieve. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think.
And that's where the growth comes in.
Yeah. Whatever you did that was really great, you're still like, and like whether it was 8th grade, 12th grade, sophomore year in college. Okay, well, you just got there. You know how much more you can still do? Like you're just kind of getting good. that's like in the grand scheme of things, right? Everyone's getting better. People run faster now than they did
Sure.
40 years ago. They
Sure.
they jump higher. They do the whole thing. Everything is new, and so quickly it changes. So it's that death of comfort, right? That complacency kills. Just like, oh, I did this. I'm going to take a break now. Well, why? I mean,
Mhm.
I don't mean you have to run as hard as you can and beat yourself up. The whole hustle and grind culture,
Right.
that's a bunch of
Right.
nonsense,
Right.
but achievement and get those goals and like, what is next? What can you do? Oh, you've achieved this. What can you use that to go get the next thing, help more people and move forward that way? How do you do that? How do you actually,
Hmm.
how do you leverage what you've achieved to achieve more? That's
Yes.
really what you want to think about. Like,
Yes.
because then you'll get excited again.
Yes. 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 I love it. I love it. I'm also a big fan of our experiences. So I'm that guy that will like try as much as you possibly can. You won't know till if you like it or not until you try it. And if you do try it and you don't like it, cool. Now you know you won't do that again. And if you do like it, then you found a new passion, potentially a new hobby or whatever. And but the other piece around that is I think if you sort of stop and look back and you sort of look at past experiences, they feed into where we're going and what we potentially can do. And so in your case, for example, the Marine Corps, I'd love to learn how that influenced your work today.
Yeah, it's on your point you were just making, you know what that is, what you just described?
What's that?
It's the ability to lean into fear,
Mm,
because any new experience is fearful. People are, I mean, you don't know, right? It's unexpected. You don't know. Am I going to be good? Am I going to be terrible? And one thing I comfort people I work with, I go, well, do you know where the starting point is, right? You know what level you're going to be at? It's called awful. Okay. We all get to start at awful and go from there. So we all start at the same place. Just give a little
uh,
encouragement. All right. So you don't have to be afraid. You can be like every other person who started this. You're going
you
to be
suck.
awful. Right.
You suck.
You're awful. So, so the Marine Corps, again, similar, right? We all went in. We couldn't march. We couldn't take two steps at the same time.
Right.
50 of us. We couldn't do anything. We're thrashed all the time. But in
Right.
3 months, and I got to relive this with my son now, you come out just one unit, dialed in, can move any direction you call me. It's just the whole transformation in that is incredible. And from there, then into the core itself, it's a mindset of, you always achieve the mission.
Right.
Or
Okay.
you always achieve the mission. So it's you will do it. You don't know what it is. You're going to be sent into the fray, but you're going to achieve the mission.
Hmm.
There's no, it's just failure isn't the option, as they say, but it really is just this attitude of figuring out it might be ugly, but it gets done.
Right.
Okay. It might be really ugly, but I'm going to get it done. Right. I'm going to dip my shoulder. I'm going to push forward. And it's funny because in my first business, oddly, that's what I did. I'm going to power through. It's going to be me. I will be the victor. I'm going to get through. And I did. It took twice as long. It was twice as hard. And then it all collapsed because I refused to take help. So as a
Mm.
caution to my kids, I say, don't be like I was. There's a lot of great people out there who have already done what you want to do, and they'd love to help you. Okay, just like me, I want to help people. Don't be that. Compress that time.
Right.
Let's
Right.
avoid the costly mistakes, the bad decisions,
Yep.
all that nonsense, right? So the mentality, that Marine Corps mentality is really good, but it's still got to be harnessed.
Got you.
You got to
Got you.
harness it, man. Pick up a couple extra brain cells. That's what I say. And no, you're smarter than this. Come on.
When did you make that connection? Did it come to you right away, or did it take some work to realize, hey, this worked over here? Why can't I apply it there?
Yeah, it really took all that collapse. I mean, I just was like,
Mm.
I mean, Audley, I had one client was a multi-billionaire with
Okay.
a B. Give me advice, loved me, loved him, favorite client, other clients, same thing, giving me advice. I'm like, well, okay, whatever. What do you know?
Right.
I build water features, like what you just own multiple professional sports teams and have billions of dollars. What do you know? Well, why
Right.
should I listen to you? That's the level of stupid I operate at. Okay. So, so yes, I look back and I've learned a lot from that. Okay. I'm now unstupid. Okay. So, but yeah, the whole key, Audley, is you got to learn from the failures. Failures are totally okay.
Yes.
Like you got to embrace them. Don't go for failure. Okay, go for victory, go for success. But those failures, they're just stepping stones. You learn so much more. Just like when you start at the awful level and you swing the bat or you swing the club or you try to
Sure.
make the shot and you can't even hit the rim. Okay, well, that's awful. That's good. And you learn. Like, well, I better throw it harder, right? Okay,
Hmm.
now, oh, look, I hit the rim. Okay, next shot. Oh, I hit the backboard. You know, that kind of thing, right? So we want to understand, like, we have to learn from the misses
Yes.
to get them in the hoop, right?
Right.
We got to take all this stuff and go, okay, what did I do wrong? It's repeating the failures that's the issue.
Mhm.
You don't want to. Why did I do that again?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Because, well, you know why.
So one of the things I oftentimes say is that the true failure comes in repeating the mistake without walking away from with the lesson. Right, that's when you really fail. So we are going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen. There are going to be mishaps. But when it's all said and done, after that event has taken place, what have you taken from that? If you've taken nothing from that and you do the exact same thing and you made the same mistake again, then you failed. Right. So
That's that definition of insanity, right? Doing the
that's
same
it.
thing, expecting a different result. I'll
That's
tell you,
it.
a great tool for me was
What's
having
that?
6 children. Having 6 children, all about the same age, okay, within 3 or 4 years of each other. You watch this, and it's the same thing. You watch them fail,
Yeah.
right? Starts with trying to walk and goes on from there.
Sure.
But then they're in athletics and they go through that and they go through the ups and the downs of that, or they're just learning things, or they're presenting, or they're competing in different. A couple of my kids did robotics and they competed in that. They got to a national level, then they lost, and then you learn from all that, and that's all good stuff. And I love that I could come alongside them
Mm,
and show them how to turn the failure into a success,
right.
how
Be
to
part of
build
that
on
journey.
top of that. And they've done some amazing things with that mindset now. So there's no poor me stuff, no victimizing, none of that. It's just like, well, get up,
I love
get
it.
up. You're okay. Get up. You're still breathing. You're good. Okay. I haven't killed you. You haven't killed yourself. We're good to go. Okay. No one is dead. We can make things happen. And that's the attitude in the house.
Got you. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I can certainly see 6. Any twins in there? Like each, like
Yes.
okay,
So you want the
good.
quick story? You want the quick
Sure,
story? What
sure.
this
Let's get
is?
that.
So my wife and I married 5 years and a little trouble getting pregnant and all that. Okay, let's do foster care. Okay, cool. Let's
Okay.
do foster care. We want to get a baby. We want an infant. We'd love to have that because we'd like to adopt them if we could. So we do the thing. 6 months goes by. We get a phone call. We got a little baby. We'll be over in 45 minutes. Oh,
Wow.
cool. So my wife calls me, get home. So we get little D'Angelo. He's awesome. Okay, the next year we do in vitro and we have our daughter.
Okay.
The day we bring her home from the hospital, the phone rings. The mother of D'Angelo, my oldest, had another baby. He had a baby boy, like 2 months premature. So he's like 3 weeks older than my daughter. We'll
Mhm.
take him. So there's like my first set of twins,
Right.
theoretically, 3 weeks in between.
Yep.
And then the next year we did in vitro again, had twin boys because my wife had twin boys. And then the phone rings again. It's the mother of the other two, had a baby girl. Okay,
Oh my
so we'll take her
God.
too, right? So
Oh
boom, there
wow.
you go. You got a whole gang in the house. And that was
Oh wow.
wild. Okay. You want to talk
Wow.
about adversity? I don't think it was adversity. It was just, it was like my son's, I think it was his fourth birthday or his fifth. Can't remember which one. We had a birthday party and we're all people are over and I'm sitting on the couch and I got the 1,000 yard stare.
Yeah.
Okay. I am just, and my wife goes, "What is wrong with you?"
Hmm.
I said, I looked at her like, I haven't slept in like 10 months. I'm like, I'm working to another. I'm like, I think I'm going to die. She goes, "You suck it up. What's you just like you think that's hard?" And she gives me this whole thing. Okay, okay, okay. It's like it was great, but and all I wanted them to do all it was walk. If you all
Yeah.
could just walk, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a lot of kids to carry at one time. You know what I mean? So let's
Yeah.
get to the walking part. Yeah.
It's funny and I guess you probably could write a whole book just on with your kids alone and the experiences and lessons from that. But you even think about the wanting them all to develop. So in this case, you want them all to walk, right? Like how important that is because that literally is life changing for you, literally.
Right. Yeah. It's you start learning. Remember in the beginning we talked about the little steps. Take a little goal, get a little
Yes,
goal to the gym.
yes.
Kids, it's all about little. Just the next. Can you hold the spoon? Just hold the spoon.
Yeah,
Okay. Just, okay. I don't care if it's all over you. Just making
totally.
an effort at eating yourself. I mean, it's just all these little things. And now they're like, it's just It's my greatest accomplishment. Probably my greatest joy, right, is raising these kids and seeing what they're becoming. I mean, all the business, all the success, nothing compared to that. Like building character in them,
Sure.
just having been these awesome men and women. And it's exciting to watch, and you don't know that when you got the 1,000-yard stare at year 5.
No.
Okay. You can't think that far. You're thinking, you're not thinking, you're just trying to get a little bit of sleep, but
Trying to get some sleep. I got you.
Yeah, but it's all good.
I love it. I gotta tell you, I love the name Sharpen the Spirit Coaching. It's the imagery of that is fantastic. Tell me about establishing your own coaching practice.
Yeah, so that was, after the collapse, and now I'm destitute briefly.
Yep.
We get all that kind of re-going. I started gaining success, running a good business. People started asking me, well, how'd you do that? How do you go from all that with all that, right? Kids and everything else. And I said, oh, well, I did this. What do you got going on in your business? And I go, oh, well, do this and do this. And I started helping them, and it turned things around. I'm like, oh, I'm pretty good at this. I've always been a good trainer. So like training is my thing, fitness and all that kind of stuff. So I love doing that. So I'm like, well, wow, I help this business, help that business. And that kind of birthed coaching. So I'm like, okay. And I was running 2 businesses. I had 2 businesses going and stuff. And I'm like, I want to start coaching. So I started helping people. You go from mentor to coach.
Yep.
You know the difference, Audley? You know what the difference is between mentor and coach?
Mentor. Well, if I were to think about it, a coach certainly helps you with the exploration, right? And a mentor. So a mentor would provide guidance. So one answer comes within, one is outside of you.
Right. Pretty clear. Yeah, that's both true. A mentor, I make it really simple. I like simple things. A mentor gives you advice for free. A coach, you got to pay.
There you go.
Okay. Because I'm an entrepreneur. Okay. So coaches get paid, right? NFL doesn't have free coaches. They don't have mentors telling the guys what play to run.
That's right.
So that's a simple way of looking at it, but you're exactly right. Mentors are those guys in your circle, right? Like my billionaire client, stuff like that, that will help.
But even outside of your circle too, right? You can go find them outside of your circle too.
Yeah. Just my warning to people, don't beat them up. Don't try to get every little last bit of information from them. You have to be respectful.
Yeah.
And it's good to build that advisory board that outside, there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors. So put that together. So I really love that. I'm like, wow, this really gets me excited. Like I'm helping these businesses and I'm turning them around because I'm outside eyes.
Yes.
When you're running your business, you have to be tunnel vision to a point. To get this off the ground, start making money and doing that stuff. But then you can't pull back out of that. And you can't see what's going on. You wonder why you keep repeating the first 2 years 5 times. Now you're 10 years in and it seems like you're still doing the same thing when you started. Right. So we break people free of that. Yeah. So I started doing that really well. I'm like, wow, this is really exciting. And seeing them do business differently because they didn't want it like everybody else does. Right. You work a lot. I want to pay you as little as possible. I want as much from you and I want to give you as little as possible. Okay. I mean, it's capitalism, if you will. I'm not anti-capitalist by any means, but like, how can we do business? How can I elevate my people, not just in competency, but as people?
Right.
How do I help them? And I'm paying for it. I'm paying to make them better people because if they become better people, and they're driving with purpose in my business, if it's vision driven and it's a vision driven business that everyone is a part of the vision. It's not a mission, it's a vision. And we're going to fulfill it together. That the purpose of able to drive with and then making them better as people, they take that home. Yeah. Now it's in their family, right? Now, where does their family go? Into the community.
That's right.
So if I help 10,000 business owners and we do all that, I'm affecting millions of people.
You are.
And so I'm like, that's what I want to do.
That's right.
That's really great. And they get to make, they get the freedom from the business because the coaching is all about what I had to go through. Most people especially in the beginning of years or even 5-10 years in, they're stuck in the owner prison, right? If they don't open the door, the business doesn't happen. They haven't delegated properly. They haven't systemized properly, right? They can't leave the business for a month and not call. Right. They can't leave it for a week and not call. Right. So I want to give them that freedom. But once they do that, create that freedom, guess what? They also make more profit.
That's right.
Because of all that, which enables them to do what? Make more impact.
Yes.
Now they get to sit back and go, what can I do with this?
Yes.
It's now you're not just working and making, you're going, what can I do with this? right?
Yes.
Now I can affect real change, right? I can do stuff. I can find out what my people who I'm making better people,
Hmm.
what do you guys want to do here in the community?
Hmm.
We can help as a business, right? We can change the lives of their personal families, the other families. And so that kind of became the mission because I still get to do what I love to do,
Sure.
but then make impact myself,
I
right?
gotta tell you, I love the title "Escaping the Owner Prison." I think it's beautiful in terms of what it really is, and it's in some ways it's ironic because as the owner, you should be on top of the world, but you are in fact imprisoning yourself.
Yeah, it's so common. That's why I started seeing the same pattern again and again. I'm like, oh man, so I wrote a book, and the book is my story. In it, weaved in it, like what I did and what you shouldn't do, but then what
Mhm.
to do and everything else. And it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's the best-selling book, and I love it. But it's just the start of the whole thing,
Yes.
and really showing these people that we all got into it for freedom. I'm
Mhm.
in control of my time and you aren't. It's
Yes.
actually worse. Okay. Because at 5 o'clock, you get to go home in a job.
Right.
Okay. You don't have to think about it.
Yep.
This one, you get to work 12 or 14 hours a day and you get to think about it 24/7. And you can't go on vacation and you can't see your kids. You can't go to their games. But you have a business.
Right.
Congratulations.
Right. Yeah. That's right. You won.
Yes, you've got a deluxe cell you live in. Instead of a 4x8, you got like an 8x8 prison
That's
cell.
right.
Okay, that's where you're at. So we want you out of there. We want you
That's
living
right.
the life.
Yes. Yes. Congratulations, you won. Now what? Right? Kind of
That's
deal.
right. So you can get to the top of the mountain, have that big pile of money, but that usually when you look around, there's no one there to enjoy it with.
You're by yourself.
That's
Exactly.
right.
No, it's very true. It's very, very true. Very, very true. I mean, Richard, this has been a great chat. Last thing I want to ask you about before we move on, is really around the importance of I guess that strategic mindset or maybe having that vision. Um, that essentially really is the roadmap for all everything you do, and if you can be as close to that as possible, I think you can save yourself maybe some sleepless nights for sure, and maybe not sacrificing your personal life, which many do.
Yeah, I think the strategic vision is what we call it. And it's the cornerstone of your business. So, and I do this with people who've been in business 10 years, 15, 40 years. I've done with people who've been in business 40 years. We've
Hmm.
created a strategic vision because again, what it is, it's what we call an internal document, but it's your customer journey from the inside.
Okay.
So from the first call all the way to the final outcome and how every single person on your team is the hero in their part of their journey and they understand it's part story and it's part exactly what they do, what they're going to be doing. See, strategic vision isn't what you do now, it's what you're going to do in the very near future, 18 to
Hmm.
24 months or 5 years. Because then everyone comes in, they're able to work for purpose, like we talked
Yes.
a little bit earlier. And the
Yes.
beauty of that, when someone can't do it,
Hmm.
they're really, and I got some kind of really cool real world examples. Well, they can't fulfill the strategic vision, so they can't be on the team.
Right.
Right now, I had a client who's got in the medical field, but she has a practitioner who actually stepped down because she has so much stuff going on in her personal life. She literally felt like she was letting the entire multiple office team down because she can't fulfill the strategic vision. So they grab that vision and they run with it.
Gotcha.
Right. I mean, it's and then they know when they're not, they know because they know what they're supposed to be doing. And they literally step down because they don't want to affect the rest of the team and the vision. That's power. That's
Mm.
power in the strategic vision, man. That's your buy-in. That changes the culture of the business,
Yes.
right? People talk about company culture, but like, how do you do it? What does that actually mean, right? This defines it and lets people become part of it and move it forward. And then you're all working your own vision-driven business now,
Love it.
not a mission-driven, but a vision-driven. Super. There's a lot more to it, but it is spectacular to see.
I love it. I think it's great. Like, I mean, all that you're talking about is exactly where really people really need to think about being, right? And I very much appreciate that cerebral approach and long-term thinking about, okay, what, like literally having that vision or that image, that picture of what is it I'm working towards and what do I need to do to get there? And that's exactly what I'm hearing from you. Thank you for sharing that. Richard, for our listeners that want to learn more about you or catch up with you or work with you, where can we send them?
Sharpenthespearcoaching.com.
I love that title, man. Sharp for the Spear. I love it. How'd you come up with that?
I'm kind of a warrior. Okay. I like to do things like that. So I ended up with a tagline, I like sharpen the spear. I really like that because we're honing entrepreneurial warriors on the battlefield of business.
I love it.
So I came up with that. So I'm like, it's good. You got to have a title and a subtitle, so you got to have both.
Yeah.
But I want people to know that business is an endless war. To put in that kind of context, because there's always another battle to fight. It's competition, it's product, it's service, it's economies, it's all that kind of stuff. And I just like the mindset.
Yes.
Because you're training all the time. You're preparing for it.
Get ready.
And that way you don't get complacent. You're moving, you're looking strategy wise from the strategic standpoint, you're looking down the road, what's coming, right? It's the big chessboard. And it helps. And as owners, that's where we need to be. We need to be in a strategic position in our business, not just dealing with the daily tactical stuff.
Well, it's interesting because even when you talk about the Marines, like there's a lot of time spent training, getting ready, preparing, and actually there's more time actually preparing, getting ready than actually the mission itself, right? But
That's right.
it's about being ready all the time. That's what I'm hearing. Richard, this has been awesome, man. I appreciate the time. Love the mission. Love the vision. Love the work that you're doing. Congrats on raising 6 kids. That's nothing to be, nothing at all to it has to be worth acknowledging. Really, is what I'm saying. And yeah, keep up the great work and all the best.
Thank you, Ellie. It's life is good. And what's next? It's always about what's next. Let's keep going. Everybody, just keep going.
Awesome. Appreciate you. Back we are here on the podcast. Now, in my conversation with Richard, we discovered that the key to overcoming adversity lies in embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. By maintaining a positive mindset and an unwavering determination, Richard was able to turn obstacles into stepping stones towards success. Now, you can connect with Richard directly for more insights and guidance, and his contact details can be found in the show notes below. Listeners certainly can take advantage of special offers and different products provided by Richard, including exclusive discounts on business coaching sessions and online courses. As we wrap up this episode of the Audacious Living Podcast, I want to say thank you to Richard for being here. And to our listeners, I would encourage you to like, follow, subscribe, and share this podcast if you haven't already done so. That is the key for us to have growth and to continue to inspire others to live their most audacious lives. I really appreciate you for tuning in, and I say thank you. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.